I love all this discussion about God, atheism, and God existence, and all these questions that I see people out there, particularly the questions I love to see out there, because that questioning is opening people's minds and expanding it. And if God is anything, God is a very big concept, a very big thing, and expanding our minds helps us tune in to what that big concept is trying to be all about and the purpose of it. One of the things I keep hearing people talk about when they're discussing God, and if God is real, they define the first cause, you might say, is the idea of what created the universe. Theism is the belief in a personal creator and ruler of the universe. So the concept is, there's a lot of concepts here that we're dealing with. Personal, or person up there, and creator, and ruler of the universe. If we look at these individually and we go deep into them, we look at the word personal. It comes from the root is person. If we look up the etymology or the ancient meaning behind that word, we see it comes from persona, which is English, meaning an actor's mask. Now, an actor is somebody who pretends to be somebody they're not, and a mask is that which covers up what is real. So, obviously, there's some phoniness about the concept of person, and it is a phony reality once we explore it. It's the personal God is about as much truth to that as there is a personal Santa Claus, like there's a real Santa Claus. We have an actor, we create the concept of a person, a Santa Claus, to teach something, like teaching, sharing and caring about other people and giving and so forth. So we personalize that to teach that to little people, little children. And we teach personal God to teach to immature people who haven't kind of grasped something beyond this artificial construct, this image that we've created in our mind, this idol. In fact, the second of the Ten Commandments talks about having no idols before you. And if you look back through the Bible, you'll see where it says, tear down their images and destroy their idols. And the idol, the image that we have of the personal God, is not healthy for us in the long run. But as a child, an immature person, you'll still believe in this personal God. Then you hear people talking about the first cause or the creator. What created this universe? The Bible starts out with, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Well, let's look at us. Let's look at ourselves and where the question comes from. We are the ones asking this question. We imagine that beginning and end are real ideas because we see ourselves as having beginning, and therefore everything else must have beginning. But if a person's mind is expanded to infinity, they can see that the concept of beginning and end aren't real. And those limitations are unhealthy to hold on to. As immature people, as undeveloped people, we need something to cling to. But when we expand, we realize it's fiction. That the universe has been constant change. It has always been and always will be. But the child's mind, or the immature mind, can't grasp that eternal reality, an infinite and eternal reality. So they create the concept of beginning and end. And therefore, once you have the concept in your mind of beginning, you naturally think, where did everything come from? Well, there must be a first cause, whether that first cause be God or the Big Bang Theory or something like that. That belief in these things are only a reflection in the lack of your mind being open. Once your mind is open, these become silly ideas. That everything has always been, is constantly changing, constant motion. And science is showing this out, and the Bible even talks about this, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. But for those who still believe in God as creator and ruler of the universe, then the healthier perspective in that is to recognize that we are part of that God. For we are creators and rulers. If I can create a sandwich, I've created it. I'm a creator. I am part of that creation. This is something that Jesus tried to teach 2,000 years ago. He was trying to say that ye are all gods, that we are all part of that. And he said that we are all one, that we are one with God, we're one with him. As you do unto the least of them, you do unto me. I am one with you, I am one with God. If you've known me, you've known my Father. He also recognized that the concept of God is there to help us and benefit us. That's why he said, if you've known me, you've known my Father, and I come to serve and not be served. So we create this concept for our benefit. And it does help, and it's a very valuable concept. It's just a concept, and it works, but it's for our benefit. And yet, unhealthy people, wicked people, sick people will use it to our disadvantage. Like this concept of Santa Claus is created to teach people about giving and sharing and things like that. But the wicked person might say, well, remember, Santa Claus has come to town, he's making a list, checking it twice, going to find out who's naughty or nice. And if you're not a good little boy or girl, you don't get any presents. And so then they can use that to manipulate the child who is immature enough to believe in this. And when they finally grow up and realize that Santa Claus isn't real, then they give them a Bible and they tell them about salvation, say Jesus Christ has come to town, he's making a list, checking it twice, going to find out who's naughty or nice. And people who are gullible enough to believe that are easily manipulated and say, well, if you don't do what we tell you is good, then you're not going to get to go off to heaven when you die. And gullible people believe it. Or you don't get to reincarnate into a better life if you don't do what we tell you to do. And again, gullible people believe these things. And that's because unhealthy, sick people, people who don't see themselves as one with everybody else, are using people's immaturity to take advantage of it. So there's a difference between the human mind and the divine mind. As a person seeks to keep, by asking these questions and pondering these questions and looking, eventually they find themselves expanding in their consciousness and their awareness until on one bright sunny day, if you work hard enough at it, your mind goes to infinity. And you recognize that infinity is what is real. And that the I, the person, the self, that we think of as real, a finite being, is just a temporary manifestation of energy. And I'm calling it self and experiencing life through it. But I am really infinite and eternal. I have always been and always will be, and I'm just experiencing it. And that you can experience it if you seek that experience of infinity, infinite mind. It's an extremely healthy, rich mindset, as opposed to the limited mindset that creates a lot of dis-ease, separation and fear, pain, doubt. You're welcome to it, and when you're tired of it, you seek to get free. Those who have done this expanded mind, they see themselves as part of the universe, not separate from that which we call creation of the universe, not separate in any way, not part of the creation and the process of creation. Those who still look at a beginning and ends being valid, they will see themselves as separate from God. So Jesus, who said, I and my Father are one, is saying, I've expanded my mind to infinity and become one with this. And yet there's a value to being separate at times. It creates great drama, which is very rich. But there's the other side. When you're tired of the drama and you want the peace, you expand your mind back out and see yourself as God, perfect, whole and complete, lacking nothing. And Jesus, again, taught these kind of things. Not that the Christians get this stuff, but it's right there in the Bible. Be perfect, as the Father in heaven is perfect. Be God sometimes. Recognizing that we are part of this process. And all these are just thoughts that are going through our brain. Electromagnetic impulses traveling along the neurons in the brain and the body. That's all they are. We react to them and we're playing with them. We're enjoying them. Doesn't make any difference either way, except to the degree it helps us enjoy and love our life experience. You know, the religions around the world tell us to know God. Because God is a very big concept. They're trying to tell us to know this big concept, to expand our minds out, to reach out. And if we look at the concept of God, it's that God is love. And if we look at what love is, as opposed to fear, love drives out fear, the Bible says. That fear is a very contracted state of mind and body, where love is a very expansive one. And when they say, know God, they're wanting us to expand, because that's a very healthy experience. And when we recognize that we're one with everybody else, we're forgiving, we're allowing, we're caring, we're generous, and that makes life go a lot better, and it enriches our life experience. So the concept of God still has value. The childish aspect of a personal God is there for people who are just beginners. And when you're ready to go beyond the personal God, you can still use God to your advantage. But you don't think of it as having a personality anymore and having will and desire. God is love. God is expansive. To be God, to be one with God, is to be an atheist.